students, again, this is another important question from the pelvic region and frequently asked in the examination and has surgical importance too. Now, the question is, describe the prostate under following heads. The first point is the introduction, external features, relations, lobes of the prostate, capsules, true and false capsules are there. Then structural zones of the prostatic glands, as the glands in the prostate, okay, are arranged in the various zones. Then arterial supply, venous drainage, and lastly the applied importance. So it is a long question. Now we begin with the answer. That means let us see the introduction of this prostate gland. It is a glandular structure made up of the fibromuscular tissue. So this is a gland which is made up of the fibromuscular tissue, hence it is hard or firm in consistency. It is, if you will palpate the prostate gland, it is firm because made up of the fibrous as well as the muscular tissue. Now, location of the prostate gland, okay. Now the gland lies between the lower end of the urinary bladder. Let us see this diagram and then I will explain you. This is the pubic symphysis, okay, and here it is the rectum and this is the anal canal. Here will be the sacrum and coccyx. Now, just behind the pubic symphysis, this structure, triangular structure, is the urinary bladder, and just at the nape of the urinary bladder, shown in the pink mass, is nothing but the prostate. Posterior to the urinary bladder, this is seminal vesicle, which is sending the ejaculatory duct and which is opening in the prostatic part of the urethra, because this is the nape of the urethra from where begins the nape of the urinary bladder, from where begins the prostatic urethra. Now this structure is urogenital diaphragm. What does it mean? That this consists of a pelvic fascia on its upper surface, and then this muscle is the sphincter urethrae muscle, and then lower down it is bounded by a tough fibrous membrane called as perineal membrane. So this is urogenital diaphragm, on which resting is this prostate gland. Thus the prostate gland lies between the neck of the bladder and urogenital diaphragm, posterior and inferior, about 2 cm behind the lower margin of the pubic symphysis, okay. And this is the perineal body. From perineal body, the one fibrous structure is going, that is the facial septum. This is which lies between the urinary bladder and rectum, hence it is called as the vesicorectal pouch or not pouch, of septum or the fibrous septum. And here is the reflection of the peritoneum in the pelvic cavity. This is coming from the posterior surface of the anterior abdominal wall, then it covers the superior surface of urinary bladder, then it dips between the rectum and urinary bladder, hence this depression is called as the rectovesical pouch. This is recto, and this rectovesical septum is attached here to the rectovesical pouch, okay. So these are the structure where just we will locate the prostate gland. Now this was in mid-sagittal section, and here this section which you are seeing is the coronal section, okay. It is the coronal section. That means it is passing from here, passing exactly through the prostatic urethra, okay. It is. So this is the urinary bladder, triangular neck of the bladder, sphincter of the bladder is here, and this is that again the conical prostate gland, and this is in midline the urethra, the prostatic urethra through which will pass the urine is here, and then this is same urogenital diaphragm, sphincter urethrae muscle covering to the urethra. This is the bulbar part of the penile urethra, and these are the bulbourethral gland opening into the bulbous part of the penile urethra. On either side of the prostate, you are seeing this muscle. This is the levator ani muscle. Okay, levator. I hope that you have got a rough idea about the location of this prostate. So it lies behind the lower end of the pubic symphysis. Okay, so this is the pubic symphysis. Okay, and it lies below the lower end of the pubic symphysis, this prostate gland, but in front of the rectum. It is lying in front of the rectum. Okay, laterally it is in relation to this muscle, laterally in so this coronal section, and this is called as levator ani muscle. So laterally it is in relation to the levator ani muscle on either side. Okay, on either side. This is the prostate gland. Okay, again this is the prostate in the coronal and sagittal section, two sections. This is the rectum. Okay, rectum, anal canal. This is the anal canal. This is the seminal vesicle, and this is the urinary bladder written in short. This is the rectovesical pouch. Rectovesical pouch. Okay. Right, let us see the shape and size and measurements of this prostatic gland. It is like a chestnut, okay, so it's small, and shape is like a chestnut. It is inverted cone shape. See here, this is a cone shape. Apex is here and base is here. So it is an inverted cone shape. It weighs around 8 gram, okay, and its width is 4 centimeter at base. See, this is the base of the gland, and this from here to here it is around 4 centimeter, and height is around 3 centimeter, and this anteroposterior dimension is only 2 centimeter. Okay, so these are the rough, dimension. So this completes our introduction of the prostate gland. Excuse me. Let us go to the external features, and at the same time I will tell you its relation also. When I am telling you the external feature, I will tell you the relation also. So please note down accordingly. So we have seen that it has a base, an apex, and 4 surfaces. See, this gland has a base, an apex, and there will be 4 surfaces. Base, it is also called a superior surface. So this is the base, which is called a superior surface, and this is in relation with the neck of the bladder. See, this is the neck of the bladder, this is the neck of the urinary bladder, and base is in relation to the neck of the urinary bladder. Now this base is pierced by urethra in the median plane. See this. This is the prostatic urethra because it is passing through the prostate. Hence it is called as the prostatic urethra. And thus it is pierced by this urethra at the base. Okay, at the base. And thus the urethra lies in the median plane. Apex. The apex is directed downwards and it is in contact with the superior surface of the urogenital diaphragm. This is urogenital diaphragm. So this is urogenital diaphragm. Okay, and apex is in contact with the urogenital diaphragm. So this is apex, which is directed inferiorly. Okay, and this apex is also pierced by the urethra. Okay, prostatic urethra, which emerges from its anterior surface, okay, of the apex. See this? In this diagram, you can see the anterior surface, because this is pubic symphysis is placed anteriorly, so that this urethra is piercing the anterior surface of the base, okay, of the sorry, not base, to the apex, okay, anterior. Now surfaces, let us come to the surfaces. Now if you will cut a section of the prostate, okay, and cut this transverse section of the prostate, then it will be easier to locate the, I mean to say, surfaces, okay, locate. Now prostate has 4 surfaces. This is the transverse section, TS of the prostate. This structure is the prostatic urethra, and these different colors will show you the different, okay, surfaces here, okay, surfaces. Now prostate, as I said, has 4 surfaces. This surface is the anterior surface. This is the anterior surface. These two are the right and left lateral surface, which are also called as infralateral surface. Why? Because they are facing inferiorly, hence they are called as right and left infralateral surfaces, okay. So there are 4 surfaces. One is the posterior surface. This is the posterior surface. So anterior surface, posterior surface, and right and left infralateral surface, okay, infralateral surface. Now anterior surface is convex, okay, and it lies about 2 centimeter behind the pubic symphysis. See here, this was the pubic symphysis, and this is your anterior surface, and it lies behind, about 2 centimeter behind the pubic symphysis, okay. Right and left, okay, pubic symphysis are here, which will lie in relation to that of the levator ani. See this right and left surfaces, infralateral surface, they are in contact, or they lie onto the levator. They are in relation to the levator ani. But at the same time, this anterior surface is also in relation to the fibrofatty tissue, which are filling between the symphysis pubis and that of the anterior surface. There is another structure which extends between the prostate and posterior surface of the pubic bone, that is called as right and left puboprostatic ligament. So there is the puboprostatic ligament is also there. Let us see the relation of posterior surface. Now the posterior surface is here. See this? It is flat, and it is in relation with that of the rectum, okay. See this is the posterior surface of the prostate, and mostly it is flat, though I have drawn it as convex, which is wrong. It should be flat as it is shown in this. See this flat posterior surface, and this lies in contact with that of the rectum. Thus the prostate can be felt by putting the finger into the rectum by a surgeon, what is called as the per-rectal examination. So if you put your finger, okay, into the rectum and feel anteriorly, you will not only able to see the posterior surface or feel the posterior surface of the prostate, but at the same time you can also feel the seminal vesicle. This examination is called as the per-rectal examination, okay. Now this posterior surface is separated from that of the rectum by the fascia, which we call as the rectovesical fascia, and here the name is given as the fascia of Dano Villaris, fascia of Danon Villaris, fascia of Danon Villaris. This fascia I told you. So this is the fascia of Danon Villaris, which separate the posterior surface of the prostate and that of the rectum, okay, and that of the rectum. Let us come to this right and left infralateral surface, which I said that it will be in relation to the levator ani muscle. On the right side and left side, it is in relation to the levator ani muscle. Now we come to the next point, that is the fourth number point of the question, lobes of the prostate. And there are 5 lobes of the prostate. And which are those lobes? 5 lobes of the prostate. There is number 1 is the median lobe. Okay, I will give it as A, or the median lobe. This is the median lobe of the prostate. Okay, in the violet color. Okay, and this median lobe of the prostate is lying in front of the ejaculatory duct. Okay, so this is the median lobe, or sometimes called as middle lobe also. Then this is the posterior lobe below the ejaculatory duct. This is the posterior lobe of the prostate. So median lobe, and this is the posterior lobe, and then this is the anterior lobe. These are the 3 lobes which can be seen only in the mid-sagittal section of the prostate. And for then, now we are giving a transverse section below the ejaculatory duct, then we will be able to see the other lobes also. The remaining are the right and left lateral lobes. So these are the lobes which are lateral lobes, lateral lobe. So this is the right and this is the left lateral lobes below the, I mean say, just deep to the surface, lateral surface. So the lateral lobe, so this is also lateral lobes on the left side. So this is the anterior lobe. Okay, anterior lobe. So this lobe which was not, I mean say, seen here in front of the prostatic urethra is this. Okay, so this is in front of, this is the prostatic urethra, and in front of this is the, in a transverse section, anterior lobe. And then on either side of this prostatic urethra, these are the right and left lateral, which were not seen in this mid-sagittal section, because section was passing here, anterior lobe and posterior lobe in the urethra. Now in this, this is the posterior lobe is seen. This is, so the 2 lateral lobe, posterior lobe, anterior lobe. Only 1 lobe is not seen in transverse section, because this section was passing below this ejaculatory duct, and above this area is the median lobe. Okay, so this is the median lobe. So lobes of prostate. Okay, the median lobe. So now you have understood that there are the 5 lobes. Let us see about these lobes. Further details. Once we have classified this lobe, let us see further detail about this lobe. Okay, let us see first the median lobe, which is seen in this diagram. This is the median lobe. Now it lies between the upper part of the urethra. See, this is the upper part of the urethra, prostatic urethra, and between the ejaculatory duct. Okay, this is the duct where seminal vesicle and the ductus deferens, they combinedly open. It is called as, which comes and open into the prostatic urethra. Okay, so now it projects in lower part of the trigone and produces a slight elevation. If you see this median lobe upward, see this is small part, it is projecting upward through the neck of the bladder, inside the bladder, and here was a trigone of the bladder, okay, which I have taught you during the urinary bladder. In the inside mucus, a triangular area is seen just at the neck of the bladder, okay, with the apex directed towards this opening, urethral opening. So in this, this is the projection, okay, and this elevation, this will raise an elevation inside, okay, and this projection or elevation is called as uvula vesicae. Vesicae means bladder. Uvula vesicae, that projection is called as, let me write it here, uvula vesicae. Uvula, U-V-U-L-A, uvula vesicae, V-E-S-I-C-A-C, uvula vesicae. This is that projection. Now this median lobe or the middle lobe here, it contains many glands. Okay, these glands, they enlarge after 45 years of age on a male, and then they produce lot of problems, and their enlargements produce a swelling of adenoma of the gland swelling, they become enlarged, and then this vesica uvulae become still more large and goes inside the bladder, say through the sphincter. This is the sphincter of vesicae is here, okay. Internal sphincter is here of the urinary bladder and piercing it. So this leads to the retention of urine. That means it will produce the obstruction of urine outflow, because then this opening is guarded, interfered of sphincteric opening is interfered by uvula vesicae. Okay, so this is that median lobe. Okay, then we come to the posterior lobe. It is present below the ejaculatory duct. Okay, and it's connect two lateral lobes. Okay, see here in this diagram you can see this is that posterior lobe is here. See this posterior lobe are deep to the posterior surface. So this, and on either side it will connect right and left lateral lobe. Okay, right and left lateral lobes. Now lot of glands are present. Okay, in these lobes. This is, and because there are glands are present here in the posterior lobe, the posterior lobe is a common site for cancer. So the median lobe was not the common site for cancer. It is the posterior lobe which is common site for cancer, because here there is a enlargement of the gland, but this gland which enlarges, it is called as benign enlargement, non-cancerous. But here in the posterior lobe, this enlargement of the gland, okay, is due to the cancer. It is due to the cancer. Okay, then come to the anterior lobe. It is present, okay, here anterior lobe in front of the urethra, okay, in front of the prostatic urethra, and have absolutely no gland. See here, this small part which lies in front of the urethra has no gland, so it doesn't show any enlargement. Okay, while the lateral lobes which are seen on either side of the urethra, prostatic urethra, okay, they also contain the glands, and again they may be site for adenoma or also may be site for the carcinoma or the cancer. Okay, so these are the various lobes and their significance. Now these lobes, as I said, they are concentrically surrounding to the urethra, and thus the glands are also distributed in this lobe, okay, just surrounding to that of the urethra. So now we come to the next point, that is the structural zones of the prostatic gland. So let us see how the glands of prostate are arranged into the three concentric zones. Okay, three concentric zone. That is an outer zone. See here, there is an outer zone, then there is an inner zone, and then there is a innermost zone. Let us see the orientation of this diagram. This is the prostatic urethra. Okay, this is the prostatic urethra. Okay, cavity is here. In front of this lies the anterior lobe which has no glands. Okay, then these are right and left lateral, lobes are there, and this is the posterior lobe. Okay, median lobe is not shown because this section is below that of the this median or middle lobe. Okay, so this in color I have shown you the glands. Okay, blue and this pink color, these are the glands. Now some of the glands, they are the gland of the mucous membrane lining to it. Okay, epithelial lining, and just deep to it is small gland present in the some mucosal, the mucosal gland. So within the mucous membrane, okay, this gland very small. See this small gland, and they open into the urethra. Then there are the gland which are in the intermediate zone, and this called as the this zone is called as the inner zone, because this zone surrounding to the prostate was called as innermost zone, where mucosal glands were there. Now here the glands which are in the inner zone, this zone is called as the submucosal gland, because they lie deep to the mucosa, and none of these glands are going into the anterior lobe. Okay, they are either here in the prostate posterior lobes, or they are into the lateral lobes. Okay, Now these lobes, and then there is the outermost zone. Okay, after inner zone there is an outermost zone. An outer zone consists of the long branching gland. See this long, this is an outer zone. These are the long branching gland which opens in the prostatic sinus. This is the prostatic on right and left. Okay, I will draw the prostatic urethra as seen from anterior aspect. Okay, this is the prostatic crest. Okay, in the posterior wall of the, and in this there is the opening of the prostatic utricle, and on either side of this right and left, these are the opening of the ejaculatory duct, and then there is a depression called as prostatic sinus. This depression, this is prostatic utricle, I mean say prostatic ridge. Okay, crest, this is crest. So it is crest, and this is the, this depression is sinus, and this, in this sinus there are multiple openings of the gland. Okay, that is here. So many, I have just drawn only two. Many glands will open here in the sinus here. Okay, so this is in longitudinal section. We are sitting in the prostatic urethra, and then seeing the its posterior wall where seminal vesicle and prostatic utricle openings are seen. So these are the long branch gland which are present in the outer zone. They are present in the lateral lobes. They are present, I have not drawn many into the posterior lobe. They are also present into the posterior lobe. Now inner zone. Okay, then inner zone, this is then inner zone, and then which is also called a submucosal zone, and then surrounding to the periphery of urethra in the lateral and posterior lobe, not in anterior lobe, this is called as innermost zone. Okay, and they are called as mucosal gland. So mucosal, submucosal gland, they are there. Okay, and outer zone gland are called as the prostatic gland proper. This completes the structural zones of the prostatic gland, and they are important because we have seen that the benign enlargement takes place in the median lobe, not here, and the cancer takes place because of the glands in the posterior lobes. Okay, outer zone, posterior lobe, outer zone, and benign enlargement takes place in the upper part above the ejaculatory duct because of the enlargement of this submucosal gland, mucosal gland, because which are very short and opening into the and present in the innermost zone. They lead to the benign enlargement which takes place in the median lobe. Okay, in the median lobe. Let us come to the capsules of the gland. I'm saying of this gland. Okay, we are coming to the capsule of the gland. Capsule of the prostate, they are divided into two different capsules. A true capsule, this is the prostate gland, and here is a capsule which is tough, okay, made up of collagen fibers, and this is very firmly attached to the substance, deeper substance of this prostatic gland, and this is called as true gland. I mean say true capsule, which cannot be separated from the prostate. Okay. Then there is a condensation of the loose connective tissue or the pelvic fascia surrounding to the prostate, which is thin and delicate, and this is called as the false capsule. Now this false capsule which is covering to the prostate is also covering to the urinary bladder. It is continuous with the facial covering of the urinary bag capsule. So there are two capsules, a true capsule, and this is the false capsule. And in between the true and false capsule, this blue color thing is nothing but the venous plexus, prostatic venous plexus, between the true and the false capsule. This is the urogenital diaphragm, sphincter urethral muscle, and this is the urinary bladder. Okay, in the coronal section. Let us go to the blood supply, lymphatics, and now this prostate is supplied by the inferior vesical artery, okay, which is the major supply, but it may also be supplied by middle rectal and internal pudendal arteries. Okay, so these are the blood supply. The venous drainage is in a prostatic venous plexus, see, surrounding to the prostate, mostly on posterior side. Okay, so this is the prostatic venous plexus, and this venous plexus will ultimately open into the internal iliac vein. Then we come to the lymphatic drainage into the external and internal iliac nodes, which are arranged along the external and internal iliac veins. So these lymph nodes will go on the wall of the pelvis. Okay. Nerve supply. Nerve supply is autonomic now because it is a viscera. Okay, it is a viscera. So it will be supplied by the sympathetic fibers L1 to L2 and parasympathetic S2 to S3 and S4. Now see the significance, what sympathetic will do and what the parasympathetic. Sympathetic is responsible for synthesis of the this prostatic glandular I would say content, the glandular secretion. It is ultimately produced because of the sympathetic activity. Okay, and then the parasympathetic is responsible for its excretion, I would say its secretion, actual secretion, okay, is because of the stimulation of the parasympathetic. So the glands will pour their secretion inside the prostatic urethra, okay, in the prostatic urethra, while synthesis is because of sympathetic innervation. Okay, sympathetic, that is the difference between the two nerve supply. Lastly, we come to the applied anatomy of prostate. Okay, you must have heard about prostatectomy, where surgeon removes the prostate. And why he removes the prostate? Because either it is having the large enlargement of median lobe, which is the benign enlargement, non-cancerous enlargement, or he is also have to remove the prostate because of the cancer in the prostate, okay, because of the cancer. But while he is removing this gland, okay, surgically removing, now both the capsules are left intact, okay, both the capsule. That means how he will left intact? The true capsule and false capsule, it remains, will have to be kept intact, okay, it should not be touched or removed. So he has to remove this prostatic mass from inside deep to the true capsule, what is called as enucleation of the prostate. Okay, enucleation of the prostate. Why this care is taken? This care is taken that otherwise this prostatic venous plexus will be injured, okay, it will cut and there will be lot of the bleeding, okay, lot of the, so this prostatic venous plexus is saved. Second applied importance, which is very important, is the benign hypertrophy of prostate, okay, that is median lobe, okay, mostly the median lobe. Benign hypertrophy of prostate is due to hypertrophy of mucosal gland of the middle or the median lobe. I told you that inner zone, gland of the innermost zone, which are just beneath the mucous membrane, okay, they get enlarged, and that is called as the benign hypertrophy. Non-cancerous, benign means non-cancerous, and it lead to increase in the frequency, okay, and urgency of urination in the person above 50 years of age. Okay, those people, male who are 50, above the 50, okay, they have to go for urination again and again, micturition, okay, at short interval, and then they feel the urgency. That means all of a sudden they have to, rush to the this washroom to pass the urine or to micturate the urine. This enlargement of the prostate median lobe is called as senile enlargement, or senile means old age, okay. So this is called as senile enlargement of the prostate, right? So this was BHP, benign hypertrophy. Lastly, we come to the carcinoma of prostate. As I said, the lateral posterior lobe is the common side, and some part of the lateral lobe, outer zone of the most outer zone, which was the prostatic gland proper, they are the site for the cancer, okay. So the cancer are because of this glands present in the outer zone, okay, mostly in the posterior lobe, okay, and this is the site for the cancer which takes place after the age of 50 or 60. Okay, 50 or 60. So this completes the very important organ, that is the prostate. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video.